Hey everybody, this is Trauma Llama. I'm going to do a quick breakdown of the MacDev Drone 2S. It's just a quick little how-to on maintenance. We'll go over the internal of the bolt as well as doing the regulator. You see on the back cap I have the Two Fat Guys paintball back cap. Makes it much easier to take this back off. If you don't have that though, just use your provided 1/4 inch. This is the wrench from my Clone 5 to take that back cap off. Set that aside. Just pull this whole piece out. That's your bolt drive system. This one, of course, is the aluminum red can. If you have the standard Drone 2 with the Delrin keg, it'll be the exact same procedures, just Delrin instead of this aluminum. So unscrew. That aside. And you have the bolt and your valve and the front part of your keg. First thing you want to do, take the old microfiber cloth, wipe down any residue that might be on there, make sure it's nice and clean, make sure there's no scratches, no burrs, no nicks on it. You don't want to catch on any O-rings and tear them apart. Same thing with your valve, wipe that down. You have a couple internal O-rings, not sure if you can see those. There's one right there, one on the back of the keg. So make sure those are clean and wiped down, no crazy debris in there. Same with that. This one doesn't have any dynamic O-rings. So you don't have to worry about this one too much. Just make sure it's nice and clean. I'm going to be using the MacDev Militia Lube. This is the provided lube that comes with the marker. Any standard paintball grease should work just fine. I've also used Dow 33 with no problems. Also use Slick Lube is a really great option as well, especially the new formula is really similar to this. You don't need a whole lot. The Militia Lube is pretty good stuff. Just give it a little squeeze on there. And just roll it around on it. Make sure you get a good coat on that O-ring. Same thing with your valve there. Again, don't need a lot. Just a little bit. Put that around. Pop that back in. And you want to make sure you get a little bit of grease in on those. Just put a little dab in your finger. Got big fingers, so a little bit harder. Just roll that around in there. Same on that back side. And whatever grease you have left on your fingers is sufficient for those outside O-rings. Just make sure they get a good nice seal on them. Take your bolt, push it back in. Screw that back together. Try it snug. Don't over torque it. Push back in. Screw your back cap back on. Again, like I said, if you have the standard factory one, it's going to use a 1/4 inch Allen wrench, and that'll screw it back on just fine. Next, we're going to go on to the regulator. See, I've already taken out a couple screws just to expedite things a little bit. This is a 5/64 for the grip screws. Got one out. It's all greasy, makes it harder. See, I try not to store my markers with a battery. I know new markers don't quite have the same problem as old ones do, but I remember leaving stuff in my old DMs and coming back to a dead battery a week later. So your regulator is right here. It's going to use a 1/4 inch Allen wrench. Take the whole thing out. Come on out. So sometimes the rest of it's stuck in there a little bit. Oops. Just take your other Allen wrench and gently kind of coerce it on out of there. There we go. So same thing with this, make sure that O-ring is in good shape, no crazy nicks or burrs. Same thing with your filter. O-rings look pretty good. And there's your spring. I do basically the same thing with this. Puts a little bit of grease on these O-rings. Roll that around. Some of your stack. A little bit. You need a lot, especially on this thing. Back like that. And again, these ones are static, they don't move. Just make sure you have a little bit of grease on them to help them seal up. Take your marker. Oops. Push that sucker back in. Take your wrench. Just tighten it back up. Don't over torque it, just give a little snug up. It's the German torque setting, gluten tight. And just put your screws back in. Careful with these ones up here, it's kind of hard to get them lined up right. I always do the bottom one first. Makes it a little bit easier to get the top ones in. Hopefully the video was helpful. If you guys have any questions, feel free to send me a message.